gauging the alluvial pattern of erosion. His gaze lingered again on the sedimentary outcrop, its layers clearly delineated. Then his eyes returned to the ground. He led the mules another 10 yards and pried a second stone loose from the valley floor with his foot, turning it over. Then he kicked loose a third stone and a fourth. It was all Cosite. The valley floor was practically paved with it. Near the edge of the snowfield, a boulder, a glacial erratic, lay atop the tundra. Msanke led his mules over to the boulder and tied them to it. Then, keeping his movements as slow and deliberate as possible, he walked back across the flats, picking up rocks, scuffing the ground with his boot, drawing a mental map of the Cosite distribution. It was incredible, exceeding even his most optimistic assumptions. He had come to this island with realistic hopes. He knew from personal experience that local legends rarely panned out. He recalled the dusty museum library where he had first come across the legend of Hanukkah, the smell of the crumbling anthropological monograph, the faded pictures of artifacts and long-dead Indians. He almost hadn't bothered. Cape Horn was a hell of a long way from New York City, and his instincts had often been wrong in the past. But here he was, and he had found the prize of a lifetime. Msanke took a deep breath. He was getting ahead of himself. Walking back to the boulder, he reached beneath the belly of the lead pack mule. Working swiftly, he unraveled the diamond hitch, pulled the hemp rope from the pack, and unbuckled the wooden box panniers. Unlatching the lid of one pannier, he pulled out a long dry sack and laid it on the ground. From it he extracted 6 aluminum cylinders, a small computer keyboard and screen, a leather strap, 2 metal spheres, and a NiCad battery. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, he assembled the equipment into an aluminum rod 15 feet long with spherical projections at either end. He fitted the computer to its center, clipped on the leather strap, and slapped the battery into a slot on one side. He stood up, examining the high-tech object with satisfaction, a shiny anachronism among the grubby pack gear. It was an electromagnetic tomographic sounder, and it was worth over $50,000, a $10,000 down payment and financing for the rest, which was proving to be a struggle to pay off atop all his other debts. Of course, when this project paid off, he could settle with everyone, even his old partner. Msanke flicked the power switch and waited for the machine to warm up. He raised the screen into position, grasped a handle at the center of the rod, and let the weight settle around his neck, balancing the sounder the way a high-wire artist balances his pole. With his free hand he checked the settings, calibrated and zeroed the instrument, and then began walking steadily across the long flat, staring fixedly at the screen. As he walked, fog drifted in and the sky grew dark. Near the center of the flat, he suddenly stopped. Msanke stared at the screen in surprise. Then he adjusted some settings and took another step. Once again he paused, brow furrowed. With a curse he switched the machine off, returned to the edge of the flat, re-zeroed the machine, and walked at right angles to his previous path. Again he paused, surprise giving way to disbelief. He marked the spot with 2 rocks, one atop the other. Then he walked to the far side of the flat, turned, and came back, more quickly now. A soft rain was beading on his face and shoulders, but he ignored it. He pressed a button, and a narrow line of paper began spooling out of the computer. He examined it closely, ink bleeding down the paper in the mist. His breath came faster. At first he thought the data was wrong. But there it was. 3 passes, all perfectly consistent. He made yet another pass, more reckless than the last, tearing off another spool of paper, examining it quickly, then balling it into his jacket pocket. After the 4th pass, he began talking to himself in a low, rapid monotone. Veering back toward the mules, he dropped the tomographic sounder on the dry sack and untied the second mule's pack with trembling hands. In his haste, one of the panniers fell to the ground and split open, spilling picks.